Antarctica. To the average person, it is nothing more than a frozen wasteland. But what if I told you that Antarctica is not just another continent? What if I told you that this place, this silent, icy desert, is the most forbidden land on Earth and perhaps the greatest key to understanding our true history? Think about it for a moment. Every corner of the Earth has been mapped, fought over, conquered, and exploited. Empires rose and fell trying to control land, resources, and power. But Antarctica is different. It is the only continent that belongs to no one. The only land mass where governments have agreed almost miraculously to share, to forbid colonization, to ban military occupation, and to block industrial exploitation. Why would nations that fight over oil, water, and territory suddenly agree to leave the richest land mass on Earth untouched? Beneath Antarctica's ice are vast reserves of coal, oil, natural gas, even rare minerals that the world is running out of. Yet, it is all strictly off-limits. The Antarctic Treaty of 1959 makes sure of that. More than 50 countries signed it. The United States and the Soviet Union, bitter enemies during the Cold War, agreed on it without hesitation. And that should make you pause, because if history teaches us anything, it is this. Nations never agree to leave wealth on the table unless there's something more important to protect, something too dangerous or too world-changing to reveal. For centuries, legends hinted at a great land at the bottom of the world. Ancient maps like the Pirae map drawn in 1513 appear to show Antarctica's coastlines with shocking accuracy without the ice. But here's the catch. Official science says Antarctica has been buried under ice for millions of years. So, how could cartographers half a millennium ago know what it looked like beneath the frozen shield? Coincidence? Or evidence of an ancient civilization that mapped Antarctica long before modern history began? Science admits Antarctica was once green. Evidence shows that 90 million years ago it was a rainforest. Rivers flowed, mountains rose, and strange creatures roamed. Could it also have been home to people? Did an ancient civilization thrive there only to be wiped away when the Great Ice Age arrived? This is where history meets mystery. Because when you follow the trail of strange events surrounding Antarctica, you begin to realize that something is not right. Take Nazi Germany's Antarctic expedition in 1938. The Nazis sailed south, dropped flags from planes, and claimed a vast section of the continent as New Schwabenland. After the war, rumors spread like wildfire had they discovered something hidden under the ice. Stories of secret bases, hidden technologies, and encounters with strange phenomena began to circulate. Then came Operation High Jump in 1946. The United States sent the largest military expedition in Antarctic history, 4,000 troops, warships, submarines, aircraft led by Admiral Richard Byrd. Officially, it was a research mission. But why send such a massive force for research? And why did the mission end abruptly months earlier than planned? Admiral Byrd himself gave cryptic interviews afterward, speaking of a new enemy that could fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. What did he see out there? What forced the operation to retreat? After that moment, Antarctica changed forever. It became a continent of secrecy. Restricted zones were declared. The Antarctic Treaty was signed. And since then, every nation on Earth has played by the same rules, hands off. Antarctica is the most controlled, most secretive land on Earth. And wherever there is secrecy, there is a reason. What if the real story of humanity is not written in the deserts of Egypt or the ruins of Mesopotamia, but buried under 2 miles of Antarctic ice? What if this frozen continent holds the remains of a lost world, one that could rewrite everything we think we know about history, science, and even our place in the universe? This is the mystery of Antarctica. For most of human history, Antarctica was nothing more than a blank space at the edge of the map, an idea rather than a place. A land whispered about by philosophers, sketched by mapmakers, and dreamt of by sailors who never saw it. The Greeks called it Antarcticus, the opposite of the Arctic, a hypothetical landmass that must exist in the south, they believed, to balance the known continents in the north. To them, Earth was symmetry. If there was land at the top, there had to be land at the bottom. For centuries, this terra australis incognita, the unknown southern land, lived in imagination, in myth, in speculation. But the idea never went away. By the 16th and 17th centuries, European explorers had already sailed across every ocean, charting coastlines and rewriting maps. Yet, at the very bottom of the world, there was still a vast emptiness. Something was there. Something that refused to reveal itself. It wasn't until 1820 that the first confirmed sighting of Antarctica took place, when Russian explorers Fabian Gottel von Bellingshausen and Mikhail Lazarev glimpsed its frozen coast. They were followed by British and American expeditions, each battling the violent seas, drifting icebergs, and deadly cold to reach a land that seemed to reject human presence. But what they saw there was unlike anything on Earth: a continent twice the size of Australia, covered almost entirely in ice, with mountains taller than the Alps buried beneath its frozen crust and valleys that had never felt the warmth of the sun. Antarctica was not just a piece of land. It was a fortress made of ice. And from the beginning, it carried with it a sense of secrecy, as though nature itself was protecting something ancient. Before Antarctica was officially discovered, some maps from centuries earlier seemed to already show it. One of the most famous is the Pirée map drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral. On it, alongside Africa, Europe, and South America, appears a southern landmass that looks strikingly like Antarctica without ice. Mountains, rivers, and coastlines are clearly depicted, as though the mapmaker had access to knowledge far older than the age of exploration. How could this be? Antarctica was not discovered until 300 years later, and its coastline has been buried under miles of ice for over 10,000 years. Some historians dismiss the Pirée map as coincidence or a mistake in copying older charts, but others suggest it hints at something more disturbing: that long before recorded history, a civilization had mapped Antarctica when it was still free of ice. If that is true, then Antarctica is not just the last frontier of exploration. It is the last witness to a forgotten chapter of Earth's story.